Let's have a look at this Iranian revolution thing.
The Speaker of Iran's parliament today warned if the U.S. attacks, American bases will burn. President Trump said that would be a big mistake.
Well, if they do that, we'll consider things targets they wouldn't believe. If they do that, we will hit them at levels that they've never been hit before. They won't even believe it. I have options that are so strong. So, I mean, if they did that, it'll be met with a very, very powerful force.
In Iran, state media, the only media amid the communications blackout, is telling Iranians the government is in full control.
In a general way, when people report on instances in foreign countries and they say state media, the only media, as if elsewhere you have access to all sorts of information, I think it's always wise to bear in mind that stratified information applies wherever you are. If you're in China, you only get the information they want you to have in China. If you're in the UK, you only really get the types of information they're happy with you having in the UK, or certainly they're involved now in the process of ensuring that. And the same is true to a degree in the US, although it perhaps exists within a larger Overton window. Indeed, isn't that the nature of the culture war, that you can look at the same incident, literally you can look at footage of the same incident when it comes to the death of the young woman there, Good was her surname, and some people can absolutely verify that it was brutality on the part of the state, and other people can completely say hand on heart that the woman's actions were deserving, or at least the ICE agent was warranted. Let me know in the comments and chat where you stand on that. But remember that whatever side of the argument you stand on, you have to check your own biases and prejudices, as the old woke postmodern brigade used to say before they were rinsed into annihilation by the rising tide of MAGA nationalism. But nevertheless, the tools of discernment that they offered, like the compassion that wokeism contains, better accessed through Christ, are of some value. And when we look at these events in Iran, let's try and keep a handle on, at least, what is it they want us to think about this?
Iran's government has tried for weeks now to quell the growing protest movement fueled by economic unrest. The heavy-handed response has reportedly killed hundreds.
Airstrikes would be one of the many options that are on the table for the commander-in-chief.
At the White House today, they're talking about options, with the president sitting down with U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio and Pentagon brass. But don't expect a public declaration.
And so what President Trump will do next, only he knows, so the world will have to keep waiting and guessing.
The U.S. government has a clear warning for any citizens in Iran. Leave Iran now. Have a plan for departing Iran that does not rely on U.S. government help. And yesterday, the president announced a new 25% tariff on countries that trade with Iran. The Iranian regime has been here before, but this could be a tipping point.
You're looking at a doomed regime. It's just a question of whether change occurs because the regime decides it must change itself to survive, or the people change it, or change occurs because of U.S. military action.
But if the U.S. intervenes, the president may have a tough time selling it to many of his supporters who reject foreign entanglements.
I was looking at my X feed, and a lot of high-profile people that I sort of follow, say John Cleese, the great genius from Monty Python, or Graham Linehan, the Irish writer of, so basically just comedy writers, like he said, like they're like posting this, why is the BBC not reporting on this? And certainly the BBC aren't reporting on it. It's so hard, isn't it, to diagnose? Can you tell me in the comments and chat, why is it that some mainstream media outlets are not reporting on this? Who benefits? Why? I don't understand anymore. Let me know. I know that I understood from that news report, civil unrest provoked by economic conditions. I get it, but if that's the problem, why is there not more civil unrest in the United Kingdom, where economic conditions are more punitive than they've been for, gosh, certainly since the 1970s? Yo, Massey, because your family's from Iran, ain't they? And you've got still got family members out there. Will you tell us what your basic take on it is?
It's mostly down to the economic situation, what I've heard, but it's like anything. You don't really know what's going on the ground, because what gets everyone out on the streets, it can be something completely different. There's women out there taking the hijab off, but apparently what's kicked it off has been economic. But then the argument is, well, the US sanctions that have been put on the country have been so horrendous that it's going to exacerbate any economic situation. But the big thing going on right now is whether their leader is going to execute a protester, a guy of 24, who's going to be executed, publicly hanged today, which they still do that stuff, like public hanging.
Off a crane, innit? Off a crane.
Yeah, off a crane. So Trump's warned him not to. So we'll see what happens.
Look at Joe. Joe, you don't think it's right to execute a geezer off a crane? Otherwise, how are people going to learn?
Well, definitely sets the standard, doesn't it?
Yeah, this is the standard. Shut up, or we execute you off a
like
crane.
This.
Ta-da, get the idea? Or shut up, or, I don't know, there's good old Craney. There's always Craney.
It's a hard line for sure.
It's a hard line. True Gold Republic could be your solution. Here's what separates speculation from pattern recognition. Gold and silver didn't surge last year by accident. They moved because confidence in the system is thinning, and history has seen this movie already. Debt expands, currency weakens, and people who were told everything was under control suddenly discover it isn't. Venezuela didn't fall apart overnight. It eroded, then collapsed. That's why True Gold Republic exists, not to sell fear, but to explain reality. True Gold Republic has released a 2026 expert guide that breaks down why gold and silver are rising, what those moves signal heading into 2026, and how physical metals can help restore a measure of financial independence. This is the same conversation True Gold Republic has been having with Americans who don't want guesses, they want strategy. Do you want strategy, not guesses? Get the free 2026 expert guide now at stayfreegold.com or call 800-300-4653. True Gold Republic believes that preparation isn't panic, it's foresight. Are you a prepper? Prepare now. Go to stayfreegold.com or ring the number in the link and description. Stay Free Gold. Preparation ain't panic, baby. I don't know, man. I'm not a sort of a super Sharia law type person. I don't reckon that Islamic State solutions are really ultimately tenable. But the history, even the recent history of Iran, has been so sort of convoluted, complex, and so continually subject to interventionism and undeclared economic interests. It's difficult to make an assessment without being glib. But glib assessments do seem to be the order of the day these days. You know, there'll be people, I reckon, that know less than me. Can you imagine such a thing? Being sort of full of passion and intensity, saying this should happen in Iran or that should happen in Iran. But, you know, all of the information that we're assessing is likely been to some degree pre-chewed by people with a preferred outcome. But it don't seem that that kind of Islamic fundamentalism is particularly successful in the Middle East. But I don't know, people are making comparable arguments against secularism in the UK and stuff. Certainly I'm making that argument.
It's hard enough to parse US news, much less Middle East news.
Yeah.
You know? So.
Yeah. And don't you think in general, because of the sort of tide of it and the flow of it and the relentlessness of it, imagine if you're like, I'm really going to nail my colours to the mast on this Iranian revolution. Tomorrow there's going to be some other thing you're really meant to care about. And you're like, oh yeah, I don't care about. Like everything now is like Shawaddy Waddy or the monkeys. Everything's just like, or Pogs. Everything's just some craze. Like the Iranian revolution. Yeah, I fucking really care about that Iranian revolution. Don't be like, I didn't think it was nice when you said like, we made jokes about like that geezer hanging from a crane. I really care about it. What? What's happened now? Something else? Somewhere else I'm supposed to care about? I care about that now. No one gives a shit. Like when you think about it honestly, don't you care a lot more about stuff that's happening in your actual life than the Iranian revolution? Like imagine if we went, listen, we can save that geezer from hanging on a crane, or you can have in your bank account right now $100,000. What do you want? No one's ever going to know. No one's ever going to know. Like, yeah, just let me know in the comments and chat. Maybe you shouldn't be protesting if you just find a way of reverse engineering. I want that 100 grand, didn't it?
Yeah.
No, so how much do you care really? Question. Remember, you can support me by going to tryreborn.com. This is your last opportunity to win a brilliant Jeep that I've been driving around in. It might smell of sick. Now, this is from the book of Job, but only because, you know, my kids have been in it. Who is this that obscures my plans with words without knowledge? Yeah, anyone who comments on any political issue. Brace yourself like a man. Hold yourself firm. I will question you, and you shall answer me, says Yahweh to Job. Where were you when I laid the earth's foundation? Don't know, sorry. Tell me if you understand. Who marked off its dimensions? Why I love that is whenever there's scriptural reference, or not whenever, but on the few occasions where I've noticed it, Daniel, Ezekiel, where like celestial entities mark stuff off and measure things, I feel like they're establishing not only the particular proportions of whatever's being measured, but systems of metrics themselves. How do you even measure reality. What do you mean? How do you even understand love? How do you understand righteousness? How do you understand vengeance or hate or truth or justice or any of these principles or any of these words that you think you understand to the degree where you might even get them tattooed on your skin? Where do you think they come from? Who marked off its dimensions? You did, God. Sorry, you did. Surely you know. You're so fucking clever. God's getting on the front foot with Job now, having put him through, or allowing the devil at least, to put Job through a few tests involving losing everything and getting a pretty bad skin disease. Surely you know. Who stretched a measuring line across it? Love it. On what were its footings set? Or who laid its cornerstone while the morning stars sang together and all the angels shouted for joy? And I suppose that's the fundamental question. The atheists and the secularists believe that the rules of nature are self-contained, that nature, whether that's the cosmos or microbiology, come from itself and all of its rules are interconnected. The religious person or the theist believes that there has to have been some moment of creation, or at least there is something outside of and beyond the rules of nature. And obviously Scripture, being a religious document, attests that there is a God, a mind, a power, a truth, a spirit that establishes these rules. And let me just ask you some secondary questions. Do you feel sad sometimes? Do you feel confused? Do you feel like you're not good enough? Do you feel like you might kill yourself? Do you feel like if I had A, B, C, D or E, then my life would be okay? Here's the news, folks. It's never going to be okay. You're fucked, you're double fucked, you're triple, quadruple, octo fucked unless you accept God right now. Nothing you're offered, not money, not fame, not sex, not power, not fantastic new Jordans that are wrapped in cellophane and there's only one pair of them in the world, are going to do anything for you. Not only that, not the Ferrari, not the children, not the love, not the dog, not the cat, not the pets, not the high rise, not the low times. Nothing will ever fulfill you. Join us on Rumble Premium. That's going to be $5 a month for the privilege.
Thanks for watching the video. Have a look at this one over here, or join us Monday, Wednesday and Friday on Rumble.